Wonderful. Wow, this is great. What a great turnout. First, one joke. All right, so. Well, I don't know.
Everybody's back.
I know. Well, hey. Well, first of all, thank you both for coming. It's wonderful to have you. Sure. Let's see. Well, I don't think I'm going to have to do much. I think we're going to have a lot of audience input, which is great. But again, thank you for coming. I will say a couple things, though. When I was doing some, biographical research, both of you. All the good stuff, though. That's the straight and narrow you get with me. First, Ms. Eden, I didn't realize, but if this is true, and you can confirm this, it was your mother who made an impression on you during the Depression days by singing to you that generated a bit of an interest in music. No, not yet. Your turn will come. So, anyway, which led to your singing and singing in choirs, etc. Which then, of course, turned into a whole other aspect of show business. Is that true? Is that how that, did that spark your interest?
Who is this guy?
My mother did sing with me when we did the dishes. And yes, I did sing in the choir at church.
All right, so that started. Okay, good.
Now,
Mr. Daly. Okay. Now you served. You were in the service.
Woman in the hat. It's time to move.
Down front. And after you served for about a year or so, and then you went into the entertainment unit of the service. Is that true? Sort of. Okay. You want to fill in the details, fill in the gaps there.
yeah, who is this guy?
Yeah. Because before that, how did you get into show business? What sparked the interest for you? I have easier questions. What was it that, what were you first interested in? Were you acting or dance? What was it? I know it was acting.
I think fooling
comedy,
around.
fooling around.
That's why I became an actor. Good looking chick.
That's and you have the best right next to you. All right, good. All right, so, I think I'm going to save myself from further embarrassment. Who are some questions from the audience? Okay.
When did you know I Dream of Jeannie was a big hit? What was your first indication?
I don't think I ever knew. I really didn't. I just took it year by year by year. I probably, like 10 years after it was on prime time, I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, a lot of people watch this show. Yes, it's, when you're working that hard, you don't really keep track of numbers, and you don't get out to meet people because you're working. So we didn't really know.
I didn't.
No. You think he's joking. He's not.
Give us a high five.
Hi, Bob.
Let's see. Question from the audience. Yes, sir.
Okay. Two questions here. First question directed to both of you. Do you have any stories about working with Larry Huffman and your thoughts and reflections on him? And the second question is for Bill. Is it true that you were the first actor to play Farrah Fawcett's boyfriend on a TV series?
Well, she was the first thing I had. She was so beautiful I couldn't talk.
I think that was one of the first shows she ever did.
Yeah.
3 lines.
Yes. And there's a nice line.
And Larry Haggard.
Larry was wonderful to work with. He was, first of all, a very good actor, marvelous comedic timing. But he kept us on our toes.
Yes.
And it was kind of fun. We just never knew quite quite what he was going to do. You know, so it didn't keep us awake.
But the greatest great man. Thank you.
Years ago, I was involved in a production of The Lover's League, and I just remember thinking it's a play, and oh my gosh, it's so cool! It's by Bill Daly. So, what got you into writing, and why did you want to write a play?
Well, I was doing theater for years, and the scripts were always so bad. It was much easier for me to write a good play than it was to do a bad one. I just kind of wrote that. I'm not a very good writer. And it was a pretty good play.
Well, you had your own theater.
Yeah, and I lived still in Albuquerque for the last 30 years. I was on the plane coming in, and the guy says, "Where are you from?" "New Mexico." I said, "I'm from New Mexico." He said, "Shouldn't you be dark?" Great New Mexico.
Never go outside, huh?
Yes, we do have.
Hi, hi Barbara, it's nice to see you again. I have kind of an unrelated Jeannie question to ask you about, and that's the movie you did after Jeannie, which at the time was considered pretty controversial. Nowadays, you know, the topic of aliens and extraterrestrials is pretty has desensitized us as a country, but we did Stranger Within, which I still remember seeing back in the 70s when it was made, and I was terrified by it. And as a kid, I was expecting to see the character of Jeannie in the movie, because that's just how kids think. And to see you in that role, it was such a traumatic role, and also it must have been incredibly different for you to do that role. I was wondering what it was like to do that movie for you.
I enjoyed doing it. It was, we had some good actors. But I think the most wonderful thing for me was my mother came on the set. She had never been on a movie. No, excuse me, she'd been on Jeannie. But in that film, I had to eat raw meat. Do you remember that? I put salt on everything.
And drink coffee?
Yes, and I never drank coffee, really. And my mother was often the story, just laughing, laughing, and I'm trying to be serious here, you know. I'm doing a film you don't laugh about a lot. And Mommy's over there going, That's my memory of that. One of my fun. I love doing it, though. It was fun doing it.
Thank you.
Something so different.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Question, Barbara, did you ever think you were going to have the most controversial belly button in television?
No, no, actually I didn't. That was an accident, really. It was, what's his name, the man from the Hollywood Reporter. Mike Conley came down on the set, he visited us, and he came many times, and he'd always look at me and say, "I don't believe you have one." And I'd say, "Nickel a peek." How cheap things were in those days. So he began writing about it, and then the stringers picked it up all across the country, and all of a sudden, NBC was afraid that my belly button would show.
Let's see. Yes.
Well, first of all, it sounds like he was actually the script chaser he was on the show. Can you confirm or deny? But my question to you is about the brass bottle you wrote in your book. How you didn't care much for the movie. Was it because of Earl Eyes and made you a little uncomfortable? Or was it just, I mean, it turned into something wonderful for you, though.
No, did I say I didn't care for it, the movie?
It wasn't your favorite film.
Well, I played kind of a dull part, and, you know. No, it was Earl Ives was scared me to death. Like, here's this wonderful man, who sang these fabulous songs, and if I'd go home late at night, I'd have to walk by his dressing room, and he'd stand in he was probably teasing me, but it scared me. He'd say, "Come here, little girl."
Jeannie, I actually liked your shows, but I was wondering how you person goes from another segment of the show to the opposite segment of the show.
Well, you mean to change clothes and
yeah,
change scenes?
Yeah.
That was kind of difficult.
Yes, it's difficult.
Because we had to stand there and hold our position while the other person left, and then they'd come back, and we'd still be standing there.
My point is when you did the nose thing, and then anything changed, and then you brought him back.
Right. Well, that of course is cutting editing.
Cutting and editing.
Yeah, the film.
I actually like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Yes, right to the hat.
How was it working on Flaming Star with Elvis?
That was great. He was wonderful. Flaming Star with Elvis. How was it working with Elvis? He was just the best mannered young man I'd ever worked with. You know, actors. You're working. You don't expect actors to have manners. And I would walk on the set, and he'd immediately stand up, and he'd get me a chair. Like my husband. My husband does that, but not actors. They're working too hard, you know. It was lovely. It was great.
I have a question, Mr. Daly. I learned that you co-wrote an episode, Jeannie the Matchmaker, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, so I want to talk a little bit about that. How you got that job, or how you were able to contribute in that fashion by writing an episode?
No idea what you're talking about. I did write a show.
I don't know.
Jeannie the Matchmaker.
I was in it, but I didn't write it. I rewrote it.
Yeah, we wrote it.
All right, so, well, you wrote, obviously,